Hi, I'm Dr. Scott. I know if you're watching this video, you're frustrated. You're frustrated with the weight you can't lose. You're probably fatigued. You're probably tired. You're probably having a hard time sleeping at night. And what's even more frustrating is that no matter what you do, no matter what program you start, you just can't seem to make progress. You just can't seem to lose the weight and keep it off. And I realize there's a lot of programs out there and that you've probably done half of them, if not all of them. I mean, we've got the Atkins diet. We've got the paleo diet. You've got the lemon juice diet. You've got the Hollywood diet, right? You've got those HCG shots, right? Or the drops that you took that was supposed to be the amazing grace of everything. There's Nutrisystem. There's the prepackaged dinners. There's, Jenny Craig. There's a whole bunch of them. And I know that you probably tried them and nothing's worked. And that you've probably read 12, 15, 20 different books trying to figure it out, or spent hours and hours on the internet trying to find that secret something that's going to help you get your life back. There's a reason why all those programs didn't work for you. That reason is none of them got down to the underlying cause of why you gained the weight to begin with. That's why they didn't work. Because you have something sick inside of you. What I mean is there's something broken with your physiology, okay, that's preventing you from losing the weight. And how I know this is because, in a healthy individual, if you eat right and exercise, you lose weight. But we know you've probably tried that, right? And it doesn't get you anywhere. And then you have friends that do it, and you hate them because they can lose the weight and it's like easy for them, and you have the most difficult time. It's because you're most likely having hormone imbalances, you're having you're having some other issues that are affecting your ability to lose the weight. And that's why those programs didn't work. So if you want to get your life back, we have to find out what's wrong with you first. Tell me if this sounds familiar. If I can just lose the weight, I'll be healthy. Unfortunately, that's backwards. If you get healthy, then the weight will melt off you. I'm telling you, the weight will melt off of you if you fix why your body's holding on to it. That's the only way you're going to make progress. And that is why we're able to help people that no one else is able to help. Now, we have 4 different hormones right here that I listed. These hormones are commonly imbalanced with the patients we work with that have weight issues. Now, cortisol, let me just go through them quickly and I'll go into specific later. Cortisol, it's a stress hormone. Mental, emotional, physical, you have kids, you're divorced, you're whatever, right? You live in a house or you live on planet Earth, you have a stress issue, right? You need to have stress in your life and your body should be able to adapt to it. If it can't, this is a cortisol hormone, and this is a belly fat hormone. It makes you gain weight. Leptin. Leptin is actually another hormone produced by your fat cells. And what this hormone does, it talks to your brain. And it tells your brain, yep, we need more fat. We need to store more fat. Okay? We don't need to store more fat. We're good to go. Let's slow down the metabolism or speed up your metabolism. This is crucial because you can get a thing called leptin resistance. And you'll gain weight, and it's a hormone problem. Insulin, we've talked about that for 80 years now. Insulin is a pro-fat hormone. So insulin's the one that, with your blood sugar, it takes the sugar out of your blood and puts it into your cells. So anything that raises insulin, basically think that your body is saying, let's store fat when your insulin goes up. Other hormone is thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. This is the hormone dealing with your thyroid gland. 2/3 of my patients that we work with, they really have a thyroid problem, and that's why they have weight problems. If you have weight and fatigue problems, most of the time a doctor is going to order a TSH to see if it is a thyroid problem. However, if you really want to know what's going on with your thyroid, you can't pull it's just a TSH or T4. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a second. So what we need to do is, what I want to stress to you is, weight is not your problem. Weight is a symptom of something wrong, okay? So right in here in this box is weight gain. That's a symptom. Now we need to figure out what's causing that symptom to be there, because if we find out the cause, the symptom goes away. So let me go over a few things here. One in particular is your thyroid. Okay? We check that by doing a test called TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and T4. These are the two most common tests run on your thyroid at your standard medical office. However, I pull 11 different markers. So in one in particular, it's called a TPO antibody test. If this is positive, you have a condition called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It basically takes up 90% of all cases, or all thyroid cases in the United States, is a Hashimoto's. Okay, it's right here, Hashimoto's. 90% of all cases or thyroid cases in the US are Hashimoto's in nature. However, the only way you know if you have it is you have to run this test. No one hardly ever pulls that test. And what Hashimoto's is your immune system gets confused and starts attacking your thyroid gland. And then you can develop metabolism problems, all sorts of issues, and you gain weight and you're tired. And it could be an immune system problem. So if you have Hashimoto's, the solution is you have to support your immune system, because that's the one that's punching your thyroid in the gut all the time. Okay? So you could be having a thyroid issue. All right? Now with thyroid, your thyroid produces two different hormones, T4 and T3. However, 93% of all of the hormone that your thyroid produces is T4, and only 7% is T3. And so clearly you can't function on just 7% active hormone that your thyroid produces. The body has to change this T4 and turn it into T3. That's done in your gut, okay, and your liver. That's where most of the conversion happens. So if you have a gut or liver problem, you're not going to convert all this hormone to thyroid hormone that can be used by your cells, and then you have thyroid problems. Although this conversion problem is not detected if you pull a TSH and T4. It just doesn't happen. So it's possible you could have had your test run, and you're sitting there going, oh, they already ran it, my tests are normal. Although, you have to pull all the markers. There's 11 markers that we pull. Now, when you're doing TSH, your marker should be 1.8 to 3.0 in your blood, okay? However, your standard, that's optimal range. The standard blood tests that come back from the lab, actually it's 0.45 with LabCorp and 4.5. So here's what happens. You can go in, get your blood checked, and you're sitting at 4.5. The lab says you're normal. Are you above 3.0? Yes, that's a problem. You have a thyroid problem. Now, what they're saying here is this is the emergency range, okay? Which means you're at 4.5, now it's an emergency. Now the doctors need to step in and take intervention to prevent you from having a medical crisis. And that's why the doctors will give you a synthetic hormone or whatever to address the medical emergency, because that's what it is. And then they'll save your life, right? But you can still be within normal range here, but still have symptoms. Okay, it happens quite often because there's something else going on in the system. Okay, but thyroid is one. That's your TSH. So we've covered this guy. Let's talk about insulin. Okay, insulin is really a blood sugar problem. Your blood sugar should be 85 to 99 in your blood work, and for your glucose, and then on your A1C test should be below 5.6. So just remember this: if you have a blood sugar problem, that is the #1 stress to your body is blood sugar. But keep in mind, you're not diagnosed with diabetes until about 127 on your blood work. So you have this big range in here where you're like, we'll just watch it, you're insulin resistance or you're pre-diabetic, whatever. They just kind of wait around for stuff. But if you're in here, that could be affecting your problem. Because remember what I said? If insulin goes up in your blood, it tells your body to store fat. Then that gives you a problem with leptin. Leptin gets out of balance, and that will also tell your body to store fat as well. So that's blood sugar. Now we got, let's talk about just gut, for example, here. Your gut is where 90% of your food is absorbed. Whoops, 90%. 2/3 of your immune system is here. A lot of T4 that gets converted into T3 happens here. So remember, the thyroid the number one cause is Hashimoto's disease, which is an immune system problem. And if all your immune system is in your gut, right, you might want to support your gut because that's where all the immune system cells are. Okay, so you can have a gut problem that could be triggering an immune system problem that's triggering a thyroid problem, which is triggering a weight gain problem. Okay, so you can see how we're way beyond just counting points or just, counting calories. That's just, you do that if you're healthy, but we have to get to the, deep down what's really going on in your system. Okay, we talked about leptin. Let's talk about cortisol here for a second. Okay, cortisol produced by your adrenal glands. It sits right above your kidneys. Your cortisol is a dynamic hormone. It should be high in the morning. It should be low at night. Okay? If you have a cortisol imbalance, cortisol will actually raise your blood sugar. Cortisol will make you gain weight. Cortisol will give you short-term memory. Do you walk in a room and go, what am I doing? You're getting lost in conversations. These are all a cortisol issue. Now, to adequately measure your cortisol, you need a saliva test. Here's why. We do 4 readings during the day. Okay? So let's say this person, we get your cortisol and you're here in the morning, you're here normal in the afternoon, you take down here and you're up here. So yours looks like this instead of like that. Then what the discussion I would have with that patient is, well, you have low cortisol here, which means you're probably tired in the morning, you just have a rough time getting started. You do okay in the afternoon. The late afternoon, you crash, you're just tanked. And then you can't go to sleep at night, all because of a cortisol problem. Now cortisol, if it gets out of balance, not only will it give you those things, it will prevent T4 from being converted into T3. It prevents that. And now cortisol gives you a conversion problem, that gives you a thyroid problem, that gives you a weight gain problem. Do you see how you got to dig deep? It's like an onion. You got to dig it all back and get to the core. All right? Now, you can have gut issues. You could have stomach problems. Okay, just one thing quickly on the stomach is hydrochloric acid or HCl. That's the stomach acid in your stomach. You got to have adequate amounts of stomach acid. Stomach acid is important because it dissolves a lot of your food, helps digestion. And this hydrochloric acid actually breaks down B12 into a form the body can use. So if you don't have adequate stomach acid, then you have decreased B12. And then when you have decreased B12, then you can get a condition called anemia. All right? Now anemia is really dealing with oxygen. Okay? And so if you have an anemia problem, you're tired, you're fatigued, right? And you can't carry oxygen to your brain. So now the brain doesn't function right. And all because it was a B12 problem caused by a hydrochloric acid problem, caused by a stomach problem, that caused you to have a weight issue. Okay? So you've got, we could keep going on forever here. So all I want to suggest to you is the only way to find out what's wrong is to run the tests to find out. We do saliva tests, we do stool sample testing, we do blood tests. And for our weight loss patients or any of our chronic patients that we see, it's not which one of these do they have generally, it's how many of them do they have and what systems do we need to support. And that's why everyone is different and you can't cookie cutter programs for people. I wish that would be so much easier, you just can't do it. And so our approach is we do the tests. Based on the testing, then we're able to determine what type of support program they're going to need. Whether it's supporting the blood sugar or supporting the thyroid function or supporting the stomach or the gut or your hormones. It kind of depends on that particular patient. One other hormone that I want to discuss with you is, let me erase some of this here quickly, is your sex hormones. So here's basically how your sex hormones are produced. Okay, starts with cholesterol. Cholesterol is then broken down to this what's called pregnenolone. And then at pregnenolone, there's 2 different pathways. One is a DHEA, and then DHEA is broken down into like estrogen and testosterone. And the pregnenolone is broken down into, the other pathway, is progesterone. And then from progesterone is your cortisol. So remember up here we have an imbalance of the cortisol. So for females, you really need to have 30 to 40% or 30 to 40 times more progesterone than you do estrogen. Now, the older you get, the less progesterone you produce. If you're not menstruating, you're even producing less. All right? And if you don't have the ratio from progesterone to estrogen, you can be fatigued, tired, weight gain, moody, all the same symptoms, right? That could be dealing with, and it could be just a hormone problem. And so what happens with cholesterol is when you get an imbalanced cholesterol here, is cholesterol, every molecule of cholesterol is made from progesterone. So the older you get, you make less progesterone. Now your cortisol is stealing this progesterone. Okay? Now you have less progesterone in your system, and you're getting that imbalance that way. All right? And then what happens in that case is the body over here, there's only so much of this produced per day. So if it's all being shunted down this pathway, right? This pathway gets kind of shut off. What the body does, the body goes, hey, look, you know what? I need to keep things functioning. You know, we're going to turn this side off. The symptoms of this side is low libido, lack of sex drive. The hormones can get imbalanced because you're not making these. You can be tired, fatigued, all these other things. So it could be a hormone problem that's causing you to have a weight problem. So that's why I said we have to figure this thing out. And that's why we're way beyond just counting calories. This is a specific program. Now our approach is this, is depending on what we find on the test, we have a natural protocols. Everything we do is natural. We have maybe supplements, product, creams, maybe some powders that we need to use to address, or certain compounds to address or support those areas that are malfunctioning. And when we do this, is we will actually tell you what to eat, what not to eat, because there are some foods that are healthy for you, but for some other people, it actually drives you to be worse or cause you to have more weight gain. And we help determine those things. And we have a particular program, and everyone is different. So if you're watching this and we just went through this and you're sitting there going, man, this makes sense to me. Well, I'm telling you, because it does make sense. Because this is the only way you're going to be able to lose the weight or really get your life back. Because I know it's not just about weight. Is you want to get your life back. You want to be able to do those things you can't do. And I know you're afraid that down the road you're not going to be able to do those things too. That's how we're able to make changes in these people's lives. And I feel so lucky that I'm able to do what we do with these patients and help them. So if you want to know if you're a candidate for our program, call our office, 801-776-3200. You'll see it on our website or down below. And we'll be happy to see if you're a candidate for our program. We don't accept everyone in our program. There are cases we have to refer out to other health professionals depending on what we find. But I'm telling you that it's a life changer. If we accept your case, it's a life changer. And I'm excited to be able to work with you and see if this is the way to get your life back. Thank you, and I can't wait to see you.